Hello everyone, my name is Michael at michaelstutorials.com, and in this video I'm going to show you some basic things with Unity 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. I'm going to call it Beginner's Tutorial. So go ahead and create it. I'm not going to include any of my assets. We'll let that open. And now here we are inside Unity for the first time. And you're going to notice this Welcome to Unity box pop up. You can use some of the tutorials or look at some of this stuff, but I don't need to, so I'm just going to go ahead and close that out. And I have mine laid out differently, so I'm going to show you how to get mine like that. Right now, this is what your Unity looks like, and I'm going to go ahead and rearrange that for you. So I'm going to drag my project up here, hierarchy down here. I'm going to position this a bit more like I like. You can just do this by clicking and dragging on the tabs up the top and then on the lines. And now that we have it set up like I like it, we can go ahead and right click on assets. It won't work if you right click down here. So click on assets, then right click on it, and then create folder scripts. There you go. There's your first folder in your assets folder. Create folder and create a folder called scenes. There you go. Now you have two folders. Believe it or not, that's a big part of this organization. So now you may be wondering how I'm moving about in the editor space, the scene view, as you can tell right here. This is the game view, this is the scene view. All you have to do is right click and press WASD, or alt click and left click. Press Alt and left click, and you can hover around. If you middle click while holding Alt, you can pan. Right click to zoom in and out, but I like WASD with the right clicking. And now if we go up here to the top, click on Game Object, create Other, Cube. Very simple so far, very easy. Now we have a cube for our floor. If we go ahead and go to Game Object again, create Other, Directional Light, we now have light in our scene, and it's a little too bright. So up here at the top we have our Pan tool, we have our Move tool, which allows you to move things up and down, left and right. We have our Rotate tool, and we're going to grab the Rotate tool, and in our hierarchy down here, right now you'll notice that Cube is highlighted. That means that we have Cube selected. If we click on Directional Light, we'll select the Directional Light, and that's what I'm trying to do. And we can rotate the light so that it's a bit less bright and less directly on the cube. You can also turn on shadows if you want. And now what's next? We want to create a script. So yeah, now we have our floor, we have our directional light. We can go ahead and add one more game object first before we create our script, and it's going to be a capsule. This will serve as our player. So we'll go ahead and in the inspector, which is on the right where it says capsule, click on it and type in player. Go ahead and press F2 if it doesn't highlight, and that'll let you type in. We can go ahead and close these drop boxes. I'm going to go ahead and remove the capsule collider and add character controller by clicking on add component and then just typing in character controller. You could also find it throughout the lists, but I find it's easier to just type in character controller. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to our scripts folder. Make sure it's selected. You'll know it's selected if it's highlighted. And then in here, right click, create C# script. Call this player controller. And today we're just going to make a simple player controller that moves the character left, right, forward, backwards. Alright. Nothing special. So let's go ahead and open up MonoDevelop. Hold on, I'm going to close all these really quickly, just so that I can only have one. Okay, now you notice that my script is going to look different than your script, and that is because I edited the default script. And I'll make a tutorial on how to do that if you want yours to look like mine when you create a script, or if you want yours to look how you want it to look. But for now, I'm just going to delete some of the things that we don't need, and that's it. So if you want, you can make yours look like mine. I highly recommend it just because it's more neat and more organized. And later on in your career of programming, you're going to want your things to be neat and organized. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to work with. Okay, so let's see. The first thing we want to do is create a public float speed. Now, what public means is it's actually visible in the inspector. And I can show you this if I click on the player and I drag our script onto it. As you can see, right here we have speed. Now, what's useful in this is that you can assign the value in the editor, and you can test out different numbers very easily and quickly. I don't know if I just said that right. You can test out different values. I think I said that, but I'm not sure. And then a float means a number, right? But instead of a 1, 2, or 3, it's a 0.5, 1.5, or 2.5. Whereas if we wanted a 1, 2, or 3, you could do public int speed. An integer is only 1, 2, 3. It's a whole value, okay? Now, we're not using that right now. We're going to use a float. And then we're going to do public character controller, and call it controller, public, that's it. Now what this does is it's grabbing the class character controller, public character controller, controller. So now if we go in here, we let it refresh, we can assign our character controller class, which is this, by clicking on it, dragging it, and putting it into the controller value. And now that's assigned, and we can use whatever values it has and change them according to what we need in our script. So in start, we're just going to make sure that speed has to be greater than 0. This is just, what the heck. You don't want speed less than 0. If speed less than equals 0, speed equals 1. So if speed less than sign and equal, so if speed is less than or equal to 0, curly braces, make sure you have those, then speed is equal to 1. Okay? Now, in update, we want do movement. Just go ahead and type in movement, like so, with parentheses, because it's going to be a method. And then we're going to type in void movement. Like so. And now we have movement, but it's not working quite yet, and that's because we haven't actually added anything to movement. So let's go ahead and do that now. If input.getAxis vertical greater than 0, I'm actually going to add parentheses around input.getAxis, and I'm going to do mathf.absolute, just like so. And now in here we're going to do controller simple move, and I'll explain all this after. Times speed. Okay, so if mathf.absolute, so basically an absolute value, which is input.getAxis vertical. So if we're moving forward or backwards, or pressing the buttons that represent forward and backwards, right, is greater than 0, then we're going to move according to that input. So I'm actually going to add times input.getAxis vertical. That way it will move both forward and backwards depending on which way we're going. Now we can add rotation and side movements, but I'm just going to do side movements. Forward movement. And you're going to want to add these comments here and there because it just makes it that much easier to read, and you're definitely going to want that. mathf.abs input.getAxis And this time we're going to use horizontal greater than 0. Controller dot simple move this dot transform direction vector 3 dot right times speed times input dot get axis horizontal, like so. And now let's go ahead and give it a try. Oops, I forgot to set the camera. Just align it like so. Oops, wrong person, wrong thing. And as you can see, we can now move around. The speed is a bit slow. Let's go ahead and speed that up. There you go. Now that is all I have for this tutorial. I didn't align the camera properly, that's why it looked a little weird. But yeah, that's all there is for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a lot. I'm kind of to the point. I don't like to sit around and waste your time, and I hope that doesn't bother you. I hope this wasn't too fast for you. But if I go ahead and go in here and just explain it a little more, I guess, there's really not much to explain. In update, which is called every frame, as it says here, we're calling movement, which does if, we're moving forward or backward, left or right, then move forward and backward, left or right. And if speed is less than or equal to 0, speed is 1. So that we never are slow. We always can move in the beginning. And we're also grabbing reference to our character controller. And that's really all there is to it. I'll make some more tutorials soon. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment.